Hey guys, it's Jeremy again. Welcome back to Books and Coffee, and welcome back also to a brand new segment series on this channel, which is going to be character discussions, where I will be picking and talking about a character. Sometimes it'll be from a book series, sometimes a TV show, and sometimes a film franchise of my choice that I just want to discuss. So today I'm going to be talking about Damon Salvatore from the Vampire Diaries TV show. Not the book series by L.J. Smith, but the actual TV show. So I won't really give you like history or anything. I'm just going to discuss it, and I think it is going to be a very interesting discussion talking about this. Is he a good or bad character, and did he actually have significant character growth and development through the course of the show? So if you have not watched all 8 seasons of the Vampire Diaries, there will be spoilers in this video, just a heads up. So one of the biggest things that has really been brought up over, I would say, the last easily 4 or 5 years of the show being on, because the show ended in 2016, so it's been over for 2 years, and I'm currently rewatching this. I'm actually only probably about 10 or 11 episodes into rewatching season 1, because this is easily one of my top 5 favorite TV shows. It starts off as a very teenage type of show, but starting in, I want to say season 4 or 5, as it really branches off into more adult content, not in the sexual nature, but in just, it just becomes a really great drama series. So a lot of people say in season 1 that Damon is a abusive piece of shit, that he manipulates, rapes, and he is just a abusive person to everybody he dates. He has a fling with Caroline in the first season, and then he actually has a romantic relationship with Elena in the later seasons, and Elena and Damon do end up together at the end of the show. Just gonna put that out there. For the purpose of this video. So this is what I say to people when they say that in terms of discussions. I'm like, well, of course he has sex with her. I'm not saying he rapes her, because she completely consents to all of it. Or he mind manipulates him. I think it's glamoring, or I don't remember the correct term for it. Apologies for that. But for one, Damon is a vampire. He is supposed to be a monster, which at times in this series he is, and he does what he wants. I love vampire characters like that. I love that. He's a vampire. He's not supposed to have, humans are not supposed to be there. Humans are not supposed to be, the words aren't coming to my mind, but vampires are not supposed to be your friends. They're not supposed to be your lovers. They're not supposed to be anything. You as a human being are a blood bag to vampires. So when people say this, and I say this, it's like when people list all the horrible things that Damon has done, and I'm like, yeah, okay, he's a vampire. He's a monster. That's what he does. If he wants to slaughter a bunch of people and drink their blood and kill people, that's his right. He does what he wants, and then I tell that to people, and I get the same response, which is nothing. Nobody responds, whether it's on the internet. Well, okay, most of this is on the internet, but still, nobody replies. I'm like, this is what is wrong with this generation of people. They don't realize. They see any man that does not treat a woman with butterflies and rainbows and pots of gold, and they label him a abusive piece of shit. It doesn't work that way, honey. And the more I hear this, and the more I see people doing this, not just to this show and with this character, to other, like, people don't like Jace from Mortal Instruments because they think he's arrogant and pompous and a complete asshole to Clary. And this goes to Will from the Infernal Devices being a complete asshole to Tessa. And I'm like, for one, in Will's case, he had reasons as to why he was behaving that way. Jace, that's just Jace. That's just who he is. That's just his personality. And the more and more I hear about this, it makes me so unbelievably frustrated. So it's a slight rant. For me, I consider Damon to be my favorite character of the entire show of Vampire Diaries. He has such a 180 character change through the 8 seasons, 171 episodes. In my opinion, he changes the most over the course of the series. And how in the beginning he hated Elena, but he kind of liked her because she looked identically like Catherine. He hated Stefan and basically didn't want him to die. He wanted him to suffer because Stefan basically forced Damon to become a vampire back in 1864 when they were turned. And he went from being that to learning to love a human, not just because she looked like someone else, but literally love her, and willing to realize that he's made some mistakes and become a better person. So he went from bad guy to still a bad guy, but kind of good guy, because that's kind of how Damon is. Maybe he is a little bit arrogant, but you know what? I love arrogant characters. They're so much more fun to watch. Why? Because they're unpredictable. I'm sorry, I love sweet characters, but a lot of time, sweet characters are very, very boring. You know, nothing really terrible is going to happen to them, which is why I always like following kind of like this morally gray characters, because you don't know whether this is going to be, whether it's going to be good, whether it's going to be bad, whether it's going to be in between. You just don't know. And I think that's why I really like Damon as a character, because he was a vampire, he was an asshole, he was arrogant, he was pompous, but I loved him for all of those reasons. I don't see any of that as a bad thing for him. I loved him for it. I love his smart remarks. I love his personality. I love the person that he is in and what he becomes. So, I mean, for this video, I feel like this is a very polarizing character, which means there are people that are going to love him, and there are going to people that are going to hate him, and I think that goes with just about anything in this. But for me, really looking at what Damon goes through, I mean, he becomes a vampire when he never wanted to be one. You know, he wanted to be with Catherine, and Catherine kind of liked Damon, but not nearly as much as Stefan. And what's funny is it's kind of like this running thing is, who's the better brother? And I feel like one was good and one was bad. You know, Stefan being the very innocent but tortured kind of character, and Damon being this very bad boy, arrogant, I do what I want and fuck the other people kind of character. And I liked both characters, but Stefan, over the course of the series, I loved him in, say, like, the first 2 seasons. Then he becomes this ripper with Klaus, and I started to still found him interesting, but I'm like, Stefan, what are you doing? But I understand why he had to become that, to protect his brother and Elena. So at the same time I understood why he did that, I was just questioning, when are you going to go back to being, you know, the Stefan that was in seasons 1 and 2? And yeah, I mean, over the course of the series, he just got very, very boring. I hate to say that, but, you know, just too just too bland. And, you know, I feel like the character that he was in the first 2 seasons, this very determined, very strong, very, I don't know, just kind of that really very open character. And Damon, you know, I think he changes so much. Like, I mean, Damon from the pilot and Damon in the series finale they're the same character, but they're not. He changes so much over the 8 seasons. It's just crazy. So let me know what you thought. What you thought? Do you think he is a great character, or do you think he is a bad character? Because I just see this so much, and it makes me angry when I hear that Damon raped Caroline, and he treated Elena like a piece of shit, and that he treated women like pieces of shit, and he's an abusive rapist asshole. And my head wants to explode every time I hear that, because it's not true, and it just infuriates me so much. And so, I mean, there is Instagram pages dedicated to highlighting apparently how toxic the relationship was between Elena and Damon. And no relationship is going to be perfect, especially when you're pretty much both vampires, and you have to keep your supernatural self a secret from the rest of the world. Basically, it's not an easy situation. And so, I mean, I'm planning on doing season reviews for the Vampire Diaries starting in January, because why not? So I may do like maybe about 10 minutes, so roughly around the length of this video, maybe about 15 minutes. Reviews of me just talking about the season and talking about like favorite characters, favorite episode, favorite quote of the season. What did I think? Like, did this? I don't know. The show is very fun, and it's very, very good. I definitely would say the first 3 seasons are like classic Vampire Diaries, where the show was super good, could not stop watching it, kind of, and then the show kind of ventures off into something very different that I like and I don't like. So let me know what you thought of this video. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.